Thank you very much for having us, and we're very excited to be a part of this new and hopefully very fast-growing community. We wanted today to talk to you about the star performers and talking about the human capital aspects within the pharmaceutical industry. But just before that, a very quick background on who we are and about Tamarind Search. Ekta, next slide, please. So just a very quick introduction. I founded Tamarind Search. I've been within the executive search game for the last nearly 2 decades. Started off with India, moved to the UK, been doing a lot of work cross-border between Boston and the UK and India. This is where, the 3 hubs of the pharmaceutical world, Europe, Asia, and the US. We work with organizations within pharmaceutical purely, but more specifically within the pharma services. So we do a lot of work with the CROs, CDMOs, and the generic players. Take the next slide, please. This is just a broad introduction to the kind of, the sector-specific companies that we deal with. As you can see, it's a good combination of the technology side. We work everything from discovery, preclinical, clinical, and all the way to post-manufacture. We normally work with a lot of companies that are looking to penetrate new markets. So the focus on business development has gone through the roof. We are looking for people with very specific technical skill sets. And again, within working with the East and West, I can say that the work that we do in the West is normally more on the commercial side, business development strategy, marketing, business unit heads. And in India, where Ekta is definitely heavier on the technical aspects, where people are looking for very technical skill sets, where the skill set could be scarce, is very much a new skill set, and this is what we're trying to really tap into. I'll pass you on to Ekta now, who can introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. So talking about the technical skills and all that, I joined Tamarind 18 months ago, and that's when we started the whole drive for the technical side of things. We were getting a lot of inquiries, and that's where I come in. So my background is that of a lapsed biochemist, I keep saying. I have done my PhD at Max Planck in biochemistry, and after that I've worked in cancer research at the University of Chicago and Moffitt Cancer Center in the US. And then I moved to the industry working with Piramal Life Sciences, and then led the Indian arm of a German company, again, a CRO, based in Hyderabad in India. So we are very much a East-West India-based organization, and I'm heading the India operations. Like Gayatri mentioned, I take care of the technical side of the hiring that's being done across India or across US and Europe. So that's what we are. We mentioned the reach that we have and the geographies that we worked in. This is just a graphical representation. So the US, Europe, UK, and of course, India. Moving on, the title of the presentation today is all about star performers. So what does a star performer mean? I think we all already know what a star performer means, is, or maybe we are even one. So, just a gentle introduction to a star performer. These are your team members or yourself who are capable of being leaders and at the same time are able to show results, spectacular results at times, on the business side of things. So somebody who's able to lead a team as well as deliver results as far as their job role is concerned, either on the commercial side or on the technical side. And this particular talk is focused on identifying those star performers and getting those star performers to join your team. Now, no talk, I think, during this time can avoid talking about the present situation, which we are all facing. And what we have found while being in conversation with the people on either side of the divide, the business owners and the candidates, is that this kind of, what can I call it, a forced rest, in a manner of speaking, has allowed both the businesses and the candidates to take a time out almost, to take a time out and see what they're doing, how they are doing it, whether that's the relevant thing that they should be doing. And it's kind of reoriented and refocused everybody to their core, to the core of who they are. On the business side, there's been a lot of evaluation about whether the strategy is correct, whether they are really doing what they had, meant to do or what they were founded to do. On the candidate side, then there's an evaluation of whether this is exactly who they wanted to be. Are they at the right place? Are they delivering at the level that they hoped to deliver, etc. So having said that, I think what I and Gayatri and my colleagues at Tamarind see is that on both sides, there's more of a focus of being relevant and having a more meaningful engagement with our environments. On the business side, obviously with the stakeholders, the clients, the customers, etc. On the candidate side, again, customers, yes, but also with the companies themselves and their colleagues on how they can be effective, etc. I will now pass this over to Gayatri to continue with this slide.
Following on from Ekta's introduction, we are in uncharted territories. Everybody knows that. But I think this is where it is becoming very important to, take stock of how attracting the right talent, the entire concept has changed. Gone are the days where it is a case of, here's a company, we have a job, would you like to do it? That's not the case anymore. From a candidate perspective, where, when I started 15, 20 years ago, I think the job, the company, the title, these were all very much the priority for the candidates in terms of ranking. It was the company, it was the title, it was the package, the monetary side of things, which was an absolute priority, which would warrant the move for an individual from one company to another. While these things still remain very important, what we're seeing is this has kind of come down the priority rank in a way. And people are interested in that, but it's not the number one criteria. What candidates are really interested in is not what's the company, but what does the company stand for? What is the ethos of the company? How is the company perceived in the public domain? Who are my colleagues? More importantly, who am I going to be reporting into? What is my boss? What is he or she like? How does he and she, what is their management style? Candidates are at this stage where before we start interviewing them for a job, they have already done a lot of due diligence on the company, spoken to their colleagues and used their network in the market before they actually have that first conversation with us. So I think companies need to start realizing that the companies are being interviewed as well. And it's the entire process, whether it doesn't start when you start interacting and when, we bring them to the table. It really starts, and therefore companies have to be so careful about the message that's out there about them, about their colleagues, about how they hire, about how they fire. Because these are getting increasingly important. One of the stats we've put on there is that 49% of the people turned down the job offer because of a bad recruiting experience, which was a PwC report that came out recently. That's looking at nearly half the people that are essentially interviewing the company during the process of their interaction with the company. People are asking us questions like, what is the caliber of the scientists on the bench? What is the caliber of my boss? How many years of experience does he or she have? So again, it's really understanding in today's day and age, it's not just about a job. It's not just about the monetary value. It really is, this is from the candidate perspective. We also have, therefore, the client perspective, which we've kind of briefly highlighted here. We've spoken about the DNA of the company. But companies today can't just hire somebody for a gap as it stands today. The thought process of hiring a candidate has to have a lot more meaning to it that can be filtered down to the candidate. Why do we need you? Why do we want you? And therefore, what can you bring to the table? But also, how are we going to improve your skill set? How are we going to improve and enhance your career. And these are some of the issues that companies have to think of before they want to attract the star candidate. I think one of the other things worth mentioning is in a digital age right now, all companies are looking at a digital platform to attract the candidate, which means that it's become quite a level playing field in a way. A small company has access to the same candidates that a big company has. It's not about location anymore. It's not about the bigger the office or the presence. It really is coming down to the digital platform. So companies also have to start understanding that it's, the size doesn't really matter. It really is about their presence online and offline. And this is where some of the smaller companies are finding a little bit of an advantage to be able to kind of get some level of equality in a way of being able to at least present their case and what they stand for. Both sides have to work better at being able to get the right fix and the right match, and which is why one of the things we do is, having lived and worked in more than one continent, I think I can say this for everybody within our firm, where it's not just Ekta and I who have come in from East and West and gone back to whatever. It's from the researchers to other consultants within the firm. We all have lived and worked in at least two continents, and I think that's something that has really come into our interview process. To be honest, search firms, the process is nearly the same, but one thing that we rely heavily on and we leverage a lot is our experience of having lived and worked within various continents, and therefore it's the understanding of the cultural, the cultural aspect, or a higher level of cultural understanding. We're working with a lot of Indian headquartered clients who are looking to recruit in the West, or US clients that are looking to attract talent into India. And therefore, it's just understanding the different cultural nuances of not just where the companies are headquartered, but also the colleagues, people you're interacting with. If the backend or the technology or the lab of a company is based in India, the people in India are essentially responsible for the success of the business development person who's sitting in the US or sitting in Europe. So that level of understanding has to be quite high. And our process is such that our interview process and our understand or our trying to understand the cultural fit or the match of a person is very highly skewed towards this softer skill set of the cultural understanding, because we feel that everybody can do the job. If you can do the job, that's one thing. But if you can see eye to eye with the ethos of the company, you have a good match with the level of understanding of people that you're working with or reporting into, I think that is a more important factor in the success of the individual and the company, rather than just being able to do the job. Because most people can do the job. Also, we know that a person who's successful in company A may or may not be successful in company B. And that it's not that the person's skill set or ability to conduct themselves or do the job or add value has changed, but it really is the right environment, which is why all these softer nuances are becoming more and more important. And this is where we feel we really can bridge that gap between what is on the CV and what it takes to really be the right fit. Over to you, Ekta.
All right. This is kind of summarizing what Gayatri has already mentioned. So she's highlighted more of the business side of things, but the same thing can be seen on the technical side of things as well. And especially now that we are kind of at a stage where more and more new technology is being used. So you are moving away from, you're not moving away. We're using the same techniques, but now it's a move towards biosimilars. There's a move towards CRISPR. There's a move towards these cutting edge technologies. And that is where the technical requirements come in from, across the borders. You need somebody from wherever they are into a company in India, let's say, to lead something there. And what's also happening is, again, the cultural fit becomes important. But what is also important is that exposure of this person to working in a different culture then adds a lot to who they are going forward in their own careers as well. This world is a really small place, and that's not just a cliche anymore, as we are all seeing with this COVID situation. So, what I would say to summarize the whole conversation that we're having with you today is that there's a definitive shift towards, or I would say there's an onus on the employees to shift towards a more flowing approach. Instead of having a cyclical approach where every 12 months this happens, that happens, that happens, that happens, there needs to now be an approach where you're doing perhaps a little bit of that every single month. So, breaking down those annual tasks, your annual feedbacks, your annual bonuses, etc., now needs to be broken down to kind of a more regular update throughout the year. So maybe every month, maybe every quarter, whatever works. But that is essential now to keep your employees engaged and keep your employees happy as well. Everybody's working from home. Everybody's dealing with different set of problems, different set of circumstances. And then employees are really looking for that kind of an engagement from their employers. If a company is already doing that, that already gives you an edge. Like Gayatri was mentioning, it's become quite a level field. So that's one of the things that we are seeing. Another thing, obviously, that becomes very important, and I think you must have read 100 articles by now on this particular discussion of trusting the employees. There was a lot of hesitation about allowing employees to work from home, for example. Now there has been no choice. And what people are finding was a lot of those fears were actually misplaced. So an employee is not just driven by a reportee's eyes on their back, pushing them to perform. The employee themselves wants to work. The candidate wants that respect, that they know what they're doing and they want to do the best they can for the company, for themselves as well. So more and more people are looking for companies who give the power to the people, give the power to the individual, give the onus to the individual, see how they perform, give them all the supporting tools which are required for them to succeed. Because at the end of the day, the success of the candidate is the success of the company and vice versa. You cannot make a business just out of stone and mortar. It's people who create businesses. So the whole breaking of the annual cycle into smaller bits or bits which are evaluated more often also definitely extends to the kind of rewards that are then handed out. No longer the annual bonuses, maybe something monthly and things like that. So this is just this is not an exhaustive list, as you can imagine, but this is just our kind of distillation of the ideas that we've heard from the business owners as well as the candidates in the last few months of the big change that we are seeing. So yeah, in a nutshell, is attracting a star candidate, star performer different than what it was before? Yes and no. Star performers are always going to be in demand forever. Yes. There are some of the things that companies were already doing to attract the star candidates, but the focus is now much deeper. People are digging a little bit more deeper to see whether they want to work for the company or not. And tooting our own horn, so please excuse me again for this one, but I think that's also where we come in. You do need sometimes a bridge between the company and the candidate to establish that trust, to ensure that, whatever might be floating around in the market, the candidate gets the real information from a first-hand source rather than a third-hand source or, just rumors on the internet, etc. That I think also helps the candidate kind of reassure themselves that they're making the right choice or they're moving to the right company, etc., and gives the company the opportunity to display who they are, to kind of set the record straight on a lot of things that are going on. So I hope this has given you a little bit of an overview of how we are working towards getting the right candidates to the right companies and the pitfalls, the advantages, etc., of doing all of this. If there are any questions, I and Gayatri will be more than happy to answer those. And we look forward to interacting with a lot of you on this platform and otherwise. And would like to thank you all very much for letting us be a part of this occasion and for giving us your ear for this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much all. You know where we are in case we can help out with any questions, anything we can help out with at all. Please feel free to reach out to Ekta or myself.